Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of the Love and Light Show. Your special guest today is Jasmine Jonte, and we are so excited to talk about masculine and feminine energy today. So if you're feeling like you're going all the time and like life's not really working out for you, and it's just like you can't figure out that piece and why it's not working, or if you're like, I'm always outputting and outputting and outputting, and I'm trying to be successful, but it's not working in the way that I want it to be, then this episode is definitely for you. We're also going to talk a little bit more about shedding that masculine energy layers that you have. If you're a woman and you're like, I'm living my life in masculine, and that used to be me and it used to be her. So we're totally there with you, and we're here to share what we can to support you guys as you shed those layers and get more into your feminine energy and become a beautiful, awesome goddess in your life. Yay! And we're also going to kind of tap into a little bit of a love dance experience. We're going to explain it a little bit to you guys, and we're going to just flow with the energy to support you guys in any way that we can. So be sure to say hi to us as you pop on live. We have 2 people on live right now, but we're on the Be Live platform, so we can't see you pop in until you say hi. So be sure to say hi. Even if you're catching the replay, you can hashtag replay. Let us know that you're here. We love engaging with you during the show and after the show, so be sure to say hi with us. Comment along. Let us know if you have any questions about this, and we'll be sure to help you guys out. And I'm Laura McPhee. I'm a joyful goddess. I'm a speaker, healer, and coach, and I love empowering women through self-love and care and releasing their negative stories and that negative voice that says they're not good enough or smart enough or pretty enough or whatever enough, all those subconscious limiting beliefs that are holding you back, so you can show up and live your dream happy life. You can truly be the mom and sister and businesswoman and whoever your titles are, that woman that you want to be, that you can show up as her and really be the change that you want to see in the world, so that you can make the positive effects that you're here to make. And this is the Love and Light Show, where every Monday, usually at 1 Atlantic, we're doing it a little bit later today to accommodate all schedules. So 1 Atlantic, 12 Eastern, and 9 Pacific, that's when the Love and Light Show goes live, to support you guys with different light workers and healers and badass spiritual entrepreneurs who are heart-centered and making awesome changes in the world. They're here to support you guys in doing that inner work on your healing journey, so that you guys can show up and be a better version of yourself. So you know the different tips and tricks and tools and modalities that are out there in this world that will propel you forward on your healing journey, so that you guys can show up as that better version of yourself. You can share it out with your friends and family and loved ones, or just you doing the work yourself will be a brighter light, so you can also be the change you want to see in the world in that way as well. Michelle's popping on live with us. Hey, Michelle, hope you're having an awesome day. There's some more people on live, so I'm going to call you out. You have to say hi. We want to say hi to you guys because this is an awesome conversation, and we're going to go into a little bit of like our own experiences with that energy as well, because that was a big shift for me when I was like, there's masculine and feminine energy. What's that mean? And what do I have to do to like get back to my truth and my authentic self? So that was really interesting. I'm so excited for us to dive into this. And Jasmine is a mindset coach, a writer, a soul adventure goddess, and a speaker who loves to empower you to rise and reclaim your authentic self. So thank you so much for joining us today, Jasmine.
Thanks for having me. You said all that and I was just like, oh, I feel better already. Like,
Aww.
Oh, what a great presence you have. And so warm and inviting and nurturing and loving and very feminine.
Thank you so much. Yay.
Yes.
Couple years in the making.
Right? I know. It takes a while.
Yeah. Awesome. So do you want to share with the audience a little bit about yourself? And we met actually during Life and Wealth Mastery. We were in that group together. And I think I mentioned that I was doing like Reiki on my plane ride, and you were doing like exercises on the plane. So anyone not familiar with Agoscu, it's like actual exercises that like put you in better alignment and stuff. So I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like, I do Reiki on the plane. I'm like, I don't care. I'll do all the positionings and don't care who's seeing it. I'm doing my body a good thing.
That's how you know you found a soul sister. When you're like, yes. What do you do on the plane? Oh, you do this really weird thing. Everybody looks at you weird. Okay, cool. We're totally now. I love it.
Totally going to do it on the plane next week too, because we're both going to Date with Destiny, and I'm super excited.
Yes, super, super excited. So yes. You guys, a little bit about me. Like she said, my name is Jasmine, and I have lots of passions, but I guess the umbrella phrase for this would be personal growth and development. I think that when we really learn about ourselves, we learn to love ourselves. It's not so much coming into who you think you want to be, but shedding those layers of conditioning that the world, that your family, that you have put on yourself, right? I think that we're all born in perfect creation, and a lot of this life that we go through is just about coming into that space of loving loving yourself as you are. And I don't mean to not make progress and not move forward, but I do mean to like dig a little deeper, right? Get a little deeper. I'm one of those, like, you can't just come up to me and ask how the weather is. I'll figure out some way to make it some deep intellectual conversation. And not that I'm not lighthearted sometimes. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. What I do, like she said, I'm a mindset coach and I'm a mastermind facilitator. That's largely what I do in the mindset coach space. And so that means, like, I help people, peer groups, come together, get to know each other, and uncover the collective wisdom. It's kind of how I like to think about it. And a lot of that is work with women. I love it when I have like pods of like 10 women on the call, and you can tell like some women are very in their feminine. And for those of us who are learning about this whole masculine, feminine energy, sometimes it's very confusing to see a woman just like in her complete feminine energy and think like, oh, is that in me too? Like it, and then you start to realize, oh, maybe it is. Maybe I've just kind of created this shell around myself that doesn't let me go there. So anyway, I'm digressing, but you can tell my one of my huge passions within this personal growth umbrella is masculine, feminine, which I love. It's my favorite thing to talk about. It's my favorite thing to share about, because it's what's made the biggest difference for me. In, like I said, shedding those layers so that I can realize who I really am before all this conditioning stuff got stuck all over me, right? We pick them up like dust bunnies. So, so that's a little about me.
Very cool. So anyone who doesn't understand just what we're talking about, masculine and feminine energy, what's your take on what masculine is, what feminine is, how that shows up?
My favorite metaphor is by David Data. If you guys don't know him, he would be a great follow-up book for you to read. Great resource, David Data. And he speaks about how the masculine is like a rock. Okay, so completely rooted down into of the earth, the core of the earth. So he's totally rooted and he's immovable. He's not going anywhere. The feminine is like the ocean of emotion that swirls around the rock. So the feminine is the movement. And if you think about this in terms of masculine, feminine, the feminine will push and pull and sway and feel all the feelings, okay? And the masculine holds strong in his presence, no matter what. Which, ladies, if you've ever had that experience where you have a moment of like really true, pure vulnerability, and you allow yourself to be seen, and a man sees you, or masculine energy sees you and is there and gives you that complete focus and attention and presence, that's kind of how that feels in real life. And I should say that masculine and feminine energy is something that we all have within us, right? Like I have a divine masculine side to me. I have a divine feminine side to me. It's on this continuum almost. And you can shift between the two based on what you need at a given time. So for instance, when I'm in business and I need to make decisions, I make it from a very divine masculine place. But that's not where I live, because my core energy, what I'm most of, is feminine. So most of the time I'm this like flowing, moving, feeling all my energy, woo-woo goddess sister, right?
Yes.
But when I gotta step in and like make a choice, I step in and I make a choice.
Yes.
Right? So, and the other thing, caveat to this, is that not all women are feminine in their core, and not all men are masculine in their core. So there's about, I think 10% is about what I've heard. Don't quote me on that. But there are like 1 in 10 guys who are feminine, and there's 1 in 10 women who are masculine in their core. And that's okay too. It's just like you got to figure out where you stand, where you lie on this continuum. How much of each do you have within you? And then try to live in that space for a little bit. Yeah. What about you? Any other things you know about masculine, feminine that you feel like are really good distinctions?
I feel like the way that I started to understand it when I wasn't like dove right into this whole world was when I was in like a healing session. My mentor, light worker helper at the time, was like, okay, so you've done all the stuff. I had quit my corporate job. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to burn out this way. Like, got into my transition job before I was going to be a coach and healer and all that stuff. And I was like so excited. And then she was talking to me about how I was still seeing things and acting as I was before in a very like masculine way, like output, 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 need to succeed, need to do things, like not trusting my intuition or going with the flow. Like if I kind of got the intuitive nudge, maybe I should do this thing, I'd be like, no, like this is the path, like this is what you need to do, ABC for success.
Mm-hmm.
So I was very strict in my perception. I was still holding on to those workaholic tendencies of like, well, I need to be busy and I need to be doing in order to get where I want to go, in order to do these things. And it became very interesting how she's like, but these are all very masculine energy things. The way that you're operating from, the way that this is coming out is because you're super masculine still. And you can just trust and you can cry and go with your emotions and deal with dig deeper on some of that stuff here and trust more and go with the flow more and trust your intuition and listen to what that voice is telling you and to go in that way and to just be like, okay, I feel like turning right here. It doesn't make sense that I feel like turning right here, but then I like run into a friend or like the most beautiful experiences happen. Like when I've gotten into that energy, I was like, wow, like life existed like this before. And I just wasn't open to it being like that, being that easy or joyful or just flowy. I had these preconceived thoughts in my head and I was super control freak nature. So I was very much like this, instead of like, trust you, universe. Let's like figure out how to make today an awesome day and just kind of go with the flow. That was a big thing that I still find is like a big thing for some of my clients where they're like very control freak nature and still don't understand how they could take a break on the weekend when they're running a business or like in life where they're just like always giving to other people. And it's like, if you take time for yourself and really nurture yourself and go inward and nurture that connection with your divine feminine self and your authentic self and trust your intuition, your gut feeling, incredible things open up. And then you can just flow in that space, which is really cool.
Yeah. And that's what it is. It's like alignment, you know, like if you're feminine and then you're moving and operating out of a feminine space, that's when things start to feel flowy. Whereas a lot of guys, you know, they kind of have a feminine shell around them. And so when they start really commanding and operating from that space of I'm going to command rather than I'm going to captivate, things start to flow for them too. They feel like they know exactly what to do. They know the right thing to do. Right. Yes. So men are all about providing and protecting and procreating. Right. Whereas women were the nourishment, we're the nurturers, we're literally incubators.
Yes.
So like the feminine, that's what the feminine does, you know, and that's how we find flow, right? And versus in the output versus the input. Like you guys think about sex.
Yeah.
Men have the output, the women receive it.
Yes.
Like you'll never forget that now. Like masculine task versus feminine task.
Yes.
You know?
And that was also a huge thing receiving wise because I was always an overgiver. So that was like a big mindset shift that my subconscious programming said that giving is better than receiving. And if you receive, then you're a weak victim who can't do it themselves for all these things. So then it came into my awareness where I'm like, oh my God, all the people that I've been overgiving to, I've been perceiving them in this way because I don't want to be perceived in this way. So that's also been a huge shift continuously that I still learn to this day. I was in Moncton last week and all these friends were wanting to like buy me things and like take my like tea and do all these things. And I was like, no. And then I'm like, wait, thank you. Yes, I will receive that. Because it's interesting how that will still pop up. And it's like, old programs.
Yeah. And the receiving side, I mean, I think about it too. Like if I'm not receiving, I'm being selfish. Because what a gift it is to give other people, to give to other people. Like when we give to others, we feel so good. But how does it feel if we give to others and they don't receive?
Right. They don't want what you're trying to give them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Good stuff, girl.
Awesome. So how do you help people shed those layers of masculinity and get more in tune with their feminine energy as they're going along in their journey?
I mean, there's a few things that really helped me. The first one was actually a solo travel adventure.
Ooh.
Yeah, so this is what I call soul adventure, and it's interesting that you mentioned just going with the flow. Like, I think I need to turn right here, and just turning right, because that's exactly what happened on my first soul adventure. I'd like left, was a teacher for a long time. I taught in inner city Detroit, and so I finally left to build my business. I was about 6 months into building my business and depressed. Like what is that? I just, made the life of my dreams, and I left this job I hated, and I'm building this business with this stuff that I love, and like I should be over the moon. And I'm like watching Grey's Anatomy at noon. You know, like what is going on? I was depressed, and so an opportunity arose for me to go to a Tony Robbins event, UPW. It was my first event, and it was in California.
Awesome.
And I've always been a traveler, like born in England. My family's just like I got potty trained in Morocco. You know what I mean? Like shit like that. Like that's just how I was raised, but I hadn't been able to do it because I had the 9 to 5.
Right.
So I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to go to California, I guess. This is like me and my masculine, like, let's just do that, I guess. Yeah. And so I flew to San Diego, and I traveled up the coast for 3 weeks. The event was in San Jose, which is Northern California. And the way that I did that trip, the only thing I had booked was my plane ticket, my first couple nights there, and my plane ticket home.
Wow.
And like a car. Like I had a car booked when I got there. And that was pretty much it. And I just flew by the seat of my pants. And I was like, I'm just going to go where I need to go. And so I got in and I got my car, and I'm like, I need to go to Sunset Cliffs, which is, if you haven't been, it's like these huge cliffs in San Diego, just the most gorgeous view you could ever, ever, ever imagine. And I get there and I'm like, whoa, I feel lighter. And it was just that idea of like letting go of the control, letting go of this need to be something good for someone else. Because so much of my success I had attributed to doing what other people told me to do. Because other people told me success looks like this. Other people told me success looks masculine. So then here I am, like being super masculine, doing all the things I'm supposed to do, being good for someone else so that I can be something in the world. When really, like, that is not at all who I am.
Exactly.
So, going on that trip and really just embracing the flow of it, and going with just enough of a plan where I felt safe, but not anything more than that.
Right.
That's really what opened me up, and I started to just follow my intuition, and go where I wanted and be who I wanted without anyone knowing anything around me, just immersing myself in myself.
Yes, I love that.
So that was first for me. That was the first thing. And then the second really important thing was experiencing true masculine energy. Because there's a lot of men out there who are really good men, but they're confused by women because we're in our masculine.
Right.
And so when we're operating out of that really commanding, controlling energy all the time, especially if you're really strong, they'll kind of back down because they want to keep this polarity, right? Like they don't want to make you, and especially with a lot of women feeling unsafe just to go to the grocery store nowadays, they don't want to make us feel unsafe. What a lot of men don't realize is true masculine presence is how we feel the most safe. Right. So really like interacting with true masculinity, which happened for me at seminars and events. I made friends with a lot of guys who were my brothers in a lot of ways, and they just like held the space for me to be flowing and free, and they were strong in their presence. Yeah. So that was the second big thing. And have you ever done eye gazing?
Were you looking into someone's eyes for a while?
Yeah.
But you can explain it to other people.
Cool. So if you're on the call and you have, you don't have to do this with a partner. Okay. You can do this with your brother, your dad, your cousin, your friend. It's all good. But if you know someone who you think like is that example of someone who does the right thing no matter what, someone who seeks to provide, who seeks to protect, who, that person who, like, if you're at a bar and he notices that a guy comes and walks up to you, even if there's nothing going wrong, he'll increase his proximity to you just in case. those guys. With them, you can do this thing called eye gazing, where essentially you just look into each other's eyes and you enter your feminine by saying mantras in your head. Some of my favorites are like, I allow, I receive, I trust you, things like that. I allow, I receive, usually are the best ones. And then the man thinks really masculine inducing thoughts, like masculine energy inducing thoughts, like, I see you and I'm here. I see you and I'm here. You're safe. So when you have that kind of exchange, you guys, like, words are still new to humanity.
Right.
We communicated in energy before. And so we still have this capability to communicate in energy. We just don't tap into it a lot. So with eye gazing, you're really tapping into like that masculine, feminine presence. And holy cow, don't be surprised if you just start crying and you don't know why. You're just like, oh my God, I feel so safe and loved and I don't know what's going on. And sometimes that doesn't happen. It's just really happy and joyful. But yeah, eye gazing is really powerful.
Yes. Yeah. Definitely cool. And I love that you said that masculine energy presence was more at those conferences, because earlier this year I was like, I haven't had a lot of examples of like king energy, masculine energy people in my world. And I'm like, I'm open to that. That's who I'm like calling in for my life partners. So like, I need these things. So when we were at Life and Wealth Mastery on relationship day, I like wrote that down. And the guy that I was sitting next to, he had a partner. So like, it wasn't like an option for like anything, but he was very much in that king masculine energy thing. So it was super safe for me to talk to him about these things, because it wasn't like he was going to hit on me later or whatever. So I was like, this is so cool that like the universe literally put me very close to someone who had all this energy. And then the summer I had a really awesome experience with a man who was in such masculine energy, and I felt ridiculously safe. And like, I kept saying that to him, like, thank you for like holding the space of making me feel so safe. Like, because unfortunately that's not the case with every single man who is trying to be present with a woman. So I felt like that was really cool that the universe kept showing me really positive experiences with that masculine energy when I was ready for it, when I was looking for it and open to receiving that. So that was really cool.
Your king, he's on his way, girl.
He is. I'm so excited.
Can't wait to meet him.
Me too. So excited. Awesome. So do you want to give us a teaser into that love dance experience, or explain more so that we can go deeper into that later?
So you guys, I was telling our beautiful goddess, joyful goddess host here that this is exclusive. I've never shared this before. And I just love you and your energy. And so you were one of the first people I like told this about, and you were so like receptive to it. And so I'm like, I feel safe now. Right? Like I can share it in here. Okay. So this is something that is a solo practice. It's something that you need to curate and like cultivate on your own. And it takes a little bit of time, and it takes conditioning. Which means, you know, you have to have a little setup time to do this, and then you have to keep doing it in order to make sure it's anchored into your body. So what is an anchor? An anchor can be anything that brings you back to a certain energy or a certain experience, right? So think about like a trigger word. If I say blueberry muffin, maybe you have an experience anchored to a blueberry muffin. You think about the blueberry muffins your mom made on your first day of school when you were in kindergarten. Right? That makes sense. So I created anchors for different feelings regarding my feminine energy. So there's different kinds of feminine energy that you can have, right? And in my language, it's kind of like a hierarchy of heat. And I don't even know if hierarchy is the best word, because it's not like one is better than the other. So let me give you examples. Red heat. Like red heat makes me think like 50 Shades of Grey, y'all. Okay. So when I say red heat, that makes me think one thing. When I see white heat, that makes me think of like feminine energy that's like really spiritually connected. Like I already think about like the pipeline and oneness and being connected to, you know, the entire universe and kind of like source, right? So that makes me think of white heat. And then we have blue heat, which is like a slow kind of simmering kind of anticipation heat, but it's not sexual. It's more like like communication and expression, and it's more like that rather than like a red, like hot, like I'm hungry, like oh it's about to go down kind of heat, versus my white spiritual heat, versus my blue kind of feminine energy flow. Everything kind of sinks in my bones, feel good heat. Okay, so what are the anchors? I created anchors to songs.
Nice.
Right? So you can use an anchor that you already have if it's not attached to a person. What I mean by that is, do you know the song, I Feel It Coming? I feel it coming. Right? Like that song, I think it's by The Weeknd. That is like a really sexy song to me. So I had it anchored to red heat for a while, but it was also anchored to a person.
Okay.
And so I realized I had to use a different song, because when I'm, dancing to this music as a way to anchor that energy into my body, this is just for me.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't for a man. This isn't for a situation. This is just for me to play with the feminine energy and not make it so serious. You know, because we think about like, oh, I got this masculine shell. Oh, I got to dissolve it. Well, the best way to dissolve it is to make it a game and have fun.
Yes.
So, so what I did was I picked songs for each of these. My white heat one is like a yoga, like mantra kind of song. You can hear, and they usually have like bells in the back. It has bells in the background, and it has a didgeridoo, I think.
Nice.
So
I love
like,
those.
like earthy kind of, those ones you put on and you ohm to. Like I have one of those songs for my white heat song. And so when I put it on, I dance within that energy. And you guys, it takes a while to cultivate, but the more you do it, the better you get at it. And then if something happens and you're like, oh, I really need to zen out and connect to source, because maybe you have a decision to make, maybe you're trying to tap into your intuition about someone or something, you play that song and it takes you right there. Does that make sense?
Yes, I love that so much, because I use that for so many other things. Like I have so many things on my cell phone, so that like if I get in fear around something, I play my affirmations about this. When I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many things happening and things aren't going how I expected, I play my life vision statement, like how this isn't going to matter in 5 years from now and how all these things are already done. So like I love that I can add these new songs in and be like, yes, connect to this feminine energy.
Yes, connect to that feminine energy. Yes. Here's the thing though, is sometimes they come on the radio. Like driving down the road. Oh, woo, there we go. So yeah, it's a really, really, really good tool. And I'm happy to share my songs with you guys. I'll put them in a comment after our live.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. And Michelle gave us an example. Justin Timberlake, Can't Stop the Feeling.
Yeah, that's like very like, it makes me think of like yellow and like brightness and joyful and like childlike joy and cheer, and like that's a really good feminine energy to be in, especially this time of year when everybody else is like elbowing each other at the stores,
Yeah. It's like, you don't need that, guys. Just be in joy. Joy is so fun to be in. Choose joy.
Choose joy.
Very cool. So can you, Michelle says, my healing song. Love it. So can you share with everyone how you can connect with you after the show?
Yeah, you guys, the best way to connect with me is on Facebook. I have a Facebook page. You can go like it. That's where I send some things out. So feel free to send me a friend request. I love friend requests, and yeah, that's probably the best way to connect with me. In terms of masculine and feminine energy, I do have a relationships mastermind coming up at the start of the year. So if you're interested in learning more about masculinity, femininity, relationships with a curriculum, but also with a peer group, who's kind of figuring it all out together, that's the purpose of mastermind. It's not group coaching where, like a coach comes on and like talks to, each of the coachees. It's much more about like, we're a peer group of like-minded, high vibrational people. Like, let's figure this out together, and it's great because I have men and women in there right now.
Awesome.
So if you're interested in that, send me a message. But yeah, anything I can do to connect with you guys, share any resources, just let me know. Because this is my jam. I could talk about it all day.
Yay! Sounds good. And Diana gave us hearts, so thank you so much.
Diana.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing this wisdom with us today in your very special exclusive love dance. I'm so excited to go find my favorite songs and do this experience. So
yeah,
I invite you guys to put in the comments as well your song. So if you're like, ooh, this song is totally coming up for me right now, let us know. Even if you catch the replay, and I'd love to play a bunch of different ones and be like, ooh, I'd love to add that song into the mix and stuff. That'd be really fun to kind of collaborate together and find our own ideal songs for this love dance, guys. That'd be so cool.
So good.
Awesome. And thank you guys so much for tuning in for the Love and Light Show. I encourage you guys to make it a weekly habit in your life and tune in next week at 1 Atlantic, 12 Eastern, and 9 Pacific, so that you guys can connect with more light workers and healers that will support you on your journey. And I actually have enrollment opening right now for my Living Your Happiest Life. That's going to start this Thursday. So I'm so excited. I did another webinar on that last night. So I'll also put that link in the comments if you want to watch the replay of it, just that you guys can truly end the year of 2018 off on a high note. You don't have to wait another week or a month or a year or whatever. It's where you're like, I've been putting off my happiness. You can truly choose to be happy right now. And we're here to support you to end 2018 on a high note so you can truly be that best version of yourself right now. So I'm sending you guys so much love and light, and I hope you have a fantastic week. Bye.
Bye.